It's time!
What's kicking, everybody? We're back for another episode of Pickin Fights. I'm Keith, joined as always by Tom. Tom, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. We are on a short timeline today. We're going to try and cram this episode all inside of 35 minutes. UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. I'm actually not as interested with that main fight as I am with all the other fights on the card. It's actually pretty stacked if you know what you're talking about. And if you don't know about these fighters, that's why you're here watching with us. Just want to, before we get into it, remind everybody, like, comment, and subscribe. You watch the video. If you followed us at all, throw us a follow, throw us a subscription. I don't know if that even is the right vernacular, but go ahead and hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of our picks. You could also listen to us on Spotify on the go if you need. With that being said, Keith, how you doing tonight?
Excellent. I'm pumped for this fight. I got really scared earlier today when it appeared that Alex Pereira said that he was going to retire from the sport, and then he said, Chama, my Twitter account or X account was hacked. Thank God.
Yeah.
Classic excuse, though. I got hacked. I love that one. That's like the classic celebrity. I tweeted something I didn't mean to. Please forgive me. So he's still here. But, yeah, more prevalent news, UFC 315, Toronto, Canada. Go Canada, I guess. Let's jump into our prelim notables. There's one really special guy I want to talk about. He's pretty cool so far. Navajo Sterling, excellent name, huge 155er, absolutely shredded. He makes me scared he's going to miss weight. I'm sorry, not 155er, light heavyweight. Okay, thank God, because, bro, I looked before. I thought somebody said lightweight on Twitter, and I saw the size of the dude. I was like, no way, absolutely not. No, he's a light heavyweight. Monster, CKB kickboxing, slick striking. Didn't get the finish last time around. It's Tuco Tacos, but Tuco's got a chin on him. And, just really slick striking out of Navajo Sterling. I think this week he goes out there, gets another win. There's a really good chance he gets done by knockout because strong power in his hands, really just smooth striking, nice uppercuts. You don't see a lot of stuff coming. He moves like a typical CKB guy. So, yeah, give me Navajo Sterling. Knockout or decision. Yeah, I like Navajo. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I like Navajo Sterling. I'm going to give him the decision here. I know he beat the hell out of Tuco Turcios, but wasn't able to find that finish, even though he did go really far and was really close there. So I'm going to say that maybe he doesn't have the the finishing ability that maybe he had. Maybe his opponent here has a good amount of Ivan Arslan can stay in there and stay in the pocket and get hit a little bit. So let's go Navajo Sterling by decision. People at Tapology expecting that knockout 62%. But yeah, let's say he's got the reach advantage, he's got a height advantage, he's got a weight advantage, youth advantage, undefeated. I don't know why necessarily that on a Canadian card is where this guy gets his fluff, but anyway, yeah, I like Navajo Sterling. Sick name. Doesn't even need a nickname. Another prelim notable that I know you're interested in is Marc-Andre Barriault, power bar, the Canadian, against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a guy who has a really good kickboxing. He's a striker predominantly. Barriault is a grappler predominantly. And that's been Silva's weakness at 35 years old. Both of these guys are the same age, kind of on the outside of their primes here, roughly the same size. I just don't trust Bruno Silva against a predominant grappler at this stage. I know both of them are on a 3 and a 4 fight lose streak. Dustin Stoltzfus, you got a kickboxer, Joe Piper, heavy hands, and Chris Curtis, split decision for Marc-Andre Barriault. I think he's got better striking than, well, I don't know if I want to say better striking, but he certainly got better grappling. And I think, he's going to be able to handle himself on the feet. And I think power bar Barriault is going to get this one done in front of the hometown crowd. 69% of the Tapology voters agree with me. What do you think, Keith?
Fight, but I also love it. Both these guys losing 3 it's just crazy the losing streaks these guys are on. Marc-Andre Barriault's been very hesitant. Bruno Silva's always a balls to the wall type of guy. Marc-Andre's been sitting back a lot more. Yeah, sure, he has a lot of power, but I think Bruno Silva's going to go out there and just bring it to him with the grappling, and he's going to fight a smart fight against Marc-Andre Barriault, the guy who has not been fighting intelligently lately. So yeah, I'm gonna take Bruno Silva here. Bounce back time, baby. No way he goes 0 for 5. All right, next up, I got another one I want to talk about, and that is Mike Malott versus Charles Radke, Chuck Buffalo. And I'm going to go against the grain here. I know you're going to disagree with me, Tom, but I am going to go with the American Chuck Buffalo to get it done in enemy territory. Fuck Canada. That's what Chuck Buffalo has to say. He likes to get on that mic and let you know how he feels. And I remember I'm pretty sure there was another time in Canada where he was like, yo, all you F words up there, shut the fuck up. And I expect him to have a repeat performance. Mike Malot's a guy that almost fights exclusively in Canada. And he's done well, but there's one Canadian fight or one fight in Canada 2 fights ago I want to look back on, and that was against Neil Magny, in which Mike Malott was doing everything to win that fight, and then the power and the fucking physicality and grit of Neil Magny came through in that fight. Another guy who's extremely gritty and strong and tough, and his only loss in recent memory is to Carlos Prates, who up until his last fight looked untouchable. I'm willing to forgive that one for Charles Radke, but I just think that, like, when guys go at Mike Malott real hard, he's a real decision fighter. He wants to wrestle you, but I think that Charles Radke is going to go out there and put the paws on him and really just remind Mike Malott what it's like to get finished. And Mike Malott's going to shell up early on. Both these guys, same age. Charles Radke a little bit shorter, but Mike Malott's not really a guy that uses his range well. He really, I think he's going to want to go out there and wrestle a guy like Charles Radke, and I think Charles is going to touch him a few times. What do you think, Tom?
It's an interesting one here. I think what if I had to just pick based on who I think is going to win, I do think Mike Malott goes out there and gets it done. Yeah, I know he's a team alpha male. I believe he is the jiu-jitsu coach and the striking coach, so he's well versed in both areas. I know you said that he doesn't use his range well. I do know that he has some pretty decent kicks too. I know Charles Radke runs in there, Chuck Buffalo like a chicken with his head cut off and throws big power bombs, which absolutely could land on Mike Malott, and you could shell up. But we could also see Mike Malott, capitalize on some of the kind of aggressive nature that Charles Radke has. So I'm not really sure. I think I would tend to lean, if it was just a straight pick 'em, Mike Malott. But given that Malott is minus 225 to the plus 180 coming back for Charles Radke, I'd probably go with Chuck Buffalo at that line, because I think there's just more upside with that bet getting plus money. So if you're going to bet on the money, I'd probably go Charles Radke. If you just want an overall winner, I'd probably go Mike Malott.
Bro, I do think Mike Malott on paper looks a lot better, but I think that Charles Radke is a fucking tough son of a bitch. And if this fight's going to go 3 rounds, he could potentially find a way. We have banked on that before, though, right? Oh, he's got that one-touch power, and then what happens? The guy goes and gets abused on the ground for 3 rounds. So we'll see. I'm still rolling with my man Chuck, because I think Mike Malott, with all due respect, he is a fighter. I'm not going to say he's soft, but, Anyways, main card time.
Before we do that, I did want to talk quickly about Jan Cutelaba, the Hulk. He's a guy who is extremely streaky, probably streakier than any UFC fighter. He can get you – literally, he can look like this guy could contend for the belt in a couple fights. He could also look like he maybe doesn't belong in the UFC and should, maybe move over to Slap or maybe PFL or something like that. And, we've seen some good performances by Jan Cutelaba lately, and that makes me think that he's going to fall off here. I don't think Jan has been able to put, multiple really good fights together in some time. I know he's minus 120 here. I like the plus 100. I guess near even. Modestas Bukauskas, 4-1 over his last 5 wins over Tyson Pedro, Zach Pauga. Both of those guys are guys who are known for being crazy, having crazy style, heavy hands. His loss to Victor Petrino from that check hook came back Marcin Prachnio submission and a knockout in his most recent fight. I think Modestas Bukauskas is more well-rounded than Jan Cutelaba, and he's a little bit better fight IQ than Jan Cutelaba. I just don't like betting on the Hulk here, because I think he's just too wild and he's inconsistent and he's not reliable. So for that being said, I'm going with Modestas Bukauskas, the Baltic Gladiator. What do you think, Keith?
You brought this one up, actually. This one happened to slip right by me. I'm going with Modestas Bukauskas as well. Great find on this fight, dude. Plus 100. Excellent line for a guy like Modestas Bukauskas. I don't know if it's still there like that. That was probably the opening line, but at plus 100, give me Modestas every single day. A lot of people forget about this guy. He was the champ over Cage Warriors, which is like one of the big feeder promotions for the UFC. I remember when he was like a highly touted prospect. Came into the UFC, looked like a world beater, and then he got his knee smashed by Khalil Roundtree, and he really has not been the same. But you're absolutely right. I think in this fight against Jan Cutelaba, he's going to go out there and do what he has to do. So, yeah, give me Modestas Bukauskas to look smart, calculated, strong, and Jan Cutelaba to go out there and embody the Hulk, like he always tries to. Aggression, stupidity. I like the Hulk, though. Don't get me wrong. All right, main card time. All right, main card time. We got.
Ever seen this before?
Huh. I've never seen that ever in my life, which like almost makes me want to throw a little bit of money on Kyle Prepolek.
Only seven picks, but yeah, I'll be going with Saint Denis.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm going with Benoit as well. Kyle Prepolek making his UFC debut, jumping right onto the opening fight of the main card. I think Benoit's going to go out there and kill him. And it's going to be sad, right? Like a live execution. A Frenchman's going to go kill a French Canadian, like to open the main card in Canada. That's kind of fucked. But yeah, give me Benoit Saint Denis. The guy's a dog. He's a world beater. He hasn't looked great in his last couple of fights, but against the guy making his debut. But dude, don't get me wrong. If this line is extreme like that, you have to responsibly stake a little bit on a man like Prepolek, right? Prepolek.
No, not at all. No, I disagree. I think Benoit Saint Denis can challenge for the belt. You look at his last 2 losses. Dustin Poirier, I was screaming from the heavens, this guy has a staph infection. This guy has a staph infection. It's on his fucking forehead. Nobody wants to pay attention. This guy has a goddamn staph infection. He's on antibiotics. He can't train. He's going to look bad against Dustin Poirier. And what happened? He ran out and he got knocked out by Dustin Poirier. He comes back against Renato Moicano. The fight gets stopped because he gets elbowed in the eye and he's bleeding profusely. His name is God of War, and he's a former military, like a French Green Beret or whatever their equivalent is. This guy's insane, and I don't think unless Killshot gets literally lucky and lands a kill shot like that, I don't think he's finishing Saint Denis. But like I think Benoit would have to, fall on his face, break his nose, blow his nose, both his eyes blow up, and then the doctor step in order for him to lose here. Famous last words, but I think minus 1,050 is probably the right line here. Benoit Saint Denis is miles better than this UFC newcomer, and like you said, they're starting the pay-per-view off with a bang. I don't know why they're sacrificing a Canadian in Canada, but maybe the French-Canadian alliance of Benoit Saint Denis has them thinking that he's a homer as well. I'm not sure, but I think you're wasting money by putting money on Kyle Prepolek, whatever.
Yeah,
you get
like at the same token, I do want to just offer this like alternative to that. I agree with everything that you said, but what if this guy is actually fucking incredible? I haven't gone back and watched his fights in fucking, I don't even know, BTC fight promotions, Prospect League. Like, I don't know, Unified MMA. I don't know what these promotions are. I have never watched this guy fight. Full disclosure, I know we're out here, talking about, like, I'm not pretending that I've watched this guy.
He hasn't fought in a year.
Why is he fighting Benoit Saint Denis then? Why are they giving?
This is really unfortunate for this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't know. Like, what if this guy does come out of nowhere and he's fucking incredible? I'm just saying.
He's had 3 fights since 2022. He's had 4 fights since 2021.
Well,
this guy fights once a year, and his fight on the UFC, his first fight is going to be against Benoit Saint Denis to open up a Canadian pay-per-view card. I don't like it, Keith. I don't.
What a guy. Hey, good for him. I'm happy for him. Go out there and prove him wrong, I guess. Next up, we got Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. And I am going to go with Alexa Grasso here. She had that trilogy with Valentina Shevchenko, went win, draw, loss over time. Natalia Silva's looked great. She's beat some really good competition over her last couple of fights, especially like you beat Jessica Andrade, who's also on the prelims this card. It automatically starts to put you into like title talks. So this is probably a number 1 contender fight. Alexa Grasso wants to go and challenge for the belt again. Natalia Silva, I don't know. I'm just going to take Natalia Silva here. Like, she's fresh face, new competition. We saw what happened to Brandon Moreno after he kept fighting Dave. I'm sorry, we saw it happen. Well, both of those guys are doing well, but like their first fight off of those trilogies, it's like a little weird. And, Valentina and Natalia Silva have very different fighting styles. It's tough. Like, Alexa Grasso did put up. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Alexa Grasso. I think she's going to get it done here and put herself back in the title talks. So give me Alexa.
You said Alexa first, then you pivoted to Natalia Silva, and then you finished on Alexa Grasso. Pause. You're going with Grasso?
Yeah, I'm going with Grasso. I'm going to finish on Grasso.
All right, noted. I am going to pick Alexa Grasso as well. I think she's far more well-rounded. Her trilogy against Valentina Shevchenko, 1-1-1 against her, arguably the best of all time. I think she's far more well-rounded on the ground. I know Natalia Silva is obviously of Brazilian heritage. You look at her last couple, unanimous decision against Jessica Andrade, which doesn't age super well, but Jessica Andrade always kind of dangerous. Viviane Arujau, decision there. Decision against Andrea 50K Lee. She knocked out Victoria Leonardo, Teresa Bleda. I think that the women's rankings inside of the UFC, there's a severe fall off once you get outside of like the top 5. And I think Natalia Silva went to decisions against the top 5. I think Alexa Grasso is a far more intelligent fighter. So I'm going with Alexa Grasso to get this one done. I think she gets right back into challenging for the belt here. But I mean, this is a super close fight. I also don't like that Grasso is plus 170 to a minus 205 from Natalia Silva. Yeah, 51-49. In favor of Grasso on Tapology. I'd want to look into how this line changes at all, what a weight cuts look like, because this is super close, far closer than I think this line. And if anything, I would lean that, Grasso, given her experience and her expertise and who she's fought against, would probably lean her to be the slight favorite. But that is not what we're seeing, let alone a plus 170 dog here. I find that potentially interesting, but the pick is going to be Grasso for me.
Yeah, I think that they're leaning towards like a grappling advantage for Natalia Silva because she can go out there and like out jujitsu a lot of fighters and stuff. But like, I don't know, Alexa Grasso is also a very talented grappler in her own right, and she's got really good hands. And I mean, just think about how she beat Valentina. She timed up that spinning attack from Valentina and immediately went in for the choke. So like, she's no slouch. And Alexa Grasso's type girl. You just have to show her a hole, and she'll exploit it. Valentina's not going to show you a hole consistently. Pause again. Yeah. So, anyways, next up, we've got Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Give me Aldo. Aldo is having like this crazy career resurgence right now. Ayman Zahabi, while he comes from TriStar and he's a trainer over there, and Faraz. No, I was thinking Faraz Zayam. Who's Zahabi? The coach over there.
Faraz Zahabi is who you're thinking of. That is, I believe, Ayman Zahabi's brother.
Okay, so it was Faraz because there's Faraz Zayam, Faraz Zahabi, and
there's Faraz Zayam, who's no related to Faraz Zahabi. There's Ayman Zahabi, who's Faraz Zahabi's brother.
I know, but those Faraz with the Z last name.
Faraz is confusing, yeah.
Yeah, so it is Faraz Zahabi then. Great gym, TriStar, Gym of the Year 3 years ago. They did an excellent job, like just developing fighters really well. Ayman's a great fighter. Great fighters have come out of there, but I do think. Well, it's tough. It's really fucking tough because Jose had that fight against Bautista when Bautista just held him up against the cage. Is fucking Zahabi going to be able to do that to him? No, I don't know. I'm going to go with Aldo for the sake of going with Aldo. I think the hands, the leg kicks, like he's still looking like Jose from back in the day. So even though Ivan's looking really good himself, I'm going to go with Aldo here. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, and I think Jose Aldo is someone who defies the idea that, age can be a limiting factor at the lower weight classes. 135 pounds. Jose Aldo has looked like Jose Aldo of old. Didn't he retire and then come back and start whipping ass again? I mean, his 2 losses, like you said, are to Merab Dvalishvili, who's probably on some sort of EPO level, some sort of enhancer. And then you got the Mario Batista, in which you said, he was held up against the cage and still lost a split decision. I don't think Zahabi's going to go and hold him up against the cage. I think Zahabi's going to be somebody who's an intelligent fighter, but also is going to try and live up to maybe the TriStar name, having the Zahabi last name, go and do something jiu-jitsu wise, having a strong IQ, and maybe he will hold Jose Aldo up against the cage. But I just think that, coming from Faraz Zahabi, they're guys who they want to go in there and they want to cause violence. They're not just looking to win the fight. They want to go out there and they want to prove that they're a true martial artist. And I don't think, you'd ever see a George St. Pierre just go and hold somebody up against the cage to get declared a victory. So I'm not expecting that from Ayman Zahabi. I think this is going to be, they're going to exchange. Jose Aldo, nobody really talks about it. Really good jiu-jitsu, really good takedown defense. So I don't think this one's going to go to the ground too much. And I think Jose Aldo, super fast, super experienced, been there, done that. He's minus 225 here. That is a little bit extreme of a line for me, just thinking that he is 38 years old. He does have a lot of tread on the tires, but that being said, Ayman Zahabi is 37 years old, and he's not that active of a fighter. Fought 6 months ago, a year and 2 months ago, a year and 10 months ago. So he seems to fight about every 6 months, which isn't a ton of activity. Again, he is 37 years old, not a ton of time inside of the UFC octagon, 32-9 versus 12-2 for Zahabi. Everything is pointing me towards Jose Aldo. I don't love minus 225 for him here, but I do think he is going to pick up the victory here in this bout.
Fair. Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. Next up, the women's flyweight championship, Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. I'm gonna go with Valentina here. Fiorot looks like a world beater, right? For like these women's divisions, not a world beater, but like, you know, she's
At times.
Yeah, she's just like a very technically sound fighter. She's beaten fighters of like all different types, right? Last win coming against Erin Blanchfield, who I thought for a long time would probably be like the youngest female champ of all time, and now her career is like slowly starting to stagnate just a little bit. She had a chance at one point, like, you know, people were like, I was one of these people. She might be the youngest champ of all time, you know, surpassing John Jones because she was like 22. I think she's still in college. You know, the girl's elite. So, yeah, Manon Fiorot going out there getting that win. That was like really the one that put her into title contention because that was the title contender fight. Rose Namajunas, and then with, you know, Jennifer Maia, Mayra Buena Silva. Those are all great wins for her. Valentina is just different. I feel like she's gonna be fresh coming off of these Alexa Grasso fights. Alexa Grasso had like pieces to the puzzle that a lot of other fighters can't figure out. I don't think that Alexa Grasso pointed anything out that Manon Fiorot could exactly replicate or say like, oh, this is the thing that Alexa did that I can do just as well, if not better. I think that Valentina is going to be a step ahead in terms of, you know, the striking, the grappling. Maybe she gives. I could actually see a world in which Valentina gives up 2 rounds, but I think that for at least the majority of the fight, she's going to be the smarter, more technically sound fighter. And, you know, maybe Manon Fiorot lands a couple of heavy shots, but I don't think she's going to knock her out, and I don't think she's going to finish her. And, you know, the only way that Valentina even got herself into that whole trilogy mess was because she made a mistake against Alexa Grasso. And it wasn't even a mistake, bro. It was like perfect game planning from Alexa. My Alexa's in the background talking right now. Yeah, I was like, wait, what the fuck is that? I barely ever use it. So as soon as I said it, I was like, wait, what? Anyways, yeah, that's I'm going with Valentina.
Yeah, and I'm going to follow you. I'm going to go with Valentina too. I think Manon Fiorot, I would give her a better shot if this was 3, 4, 5 years ago. She's a little bit younger, but the fact that they're both 35, 37 years old, Valentina Shevchenko's strength of schedule is obviously much better, but Fiorot has fought a lot of a good competition, won decisions with them all. And like you said, I think Valentina had lost because you have an opportunistic Alexa Grasso with a good game plan. At the end of the day, I think Valentina is probably better on the feet than Manon Fiorot is. And I don't know Fiorot's like grappling jiu-jitsu game. And I know Valentina is going to have a strong base pretty much in every area, always striving to get better. So I think I didn't know she fights out of Lima, Peru. I think she does travel around and you know, fights at a lot of different gyms. So she has all that experience going for her as well. I like the bullet to retain here, but I'm not going to lie to you. As she gets a little bit older and as these fights get a little bit more contested, you know, if you look, I think it's been quite a few fights since she's knocked somebody out. She knocked out Lauren Murphy. She got submitted by Alexa Grasso and then split decision, unanimous decision. So I don't know if that means that, you know, we could be something, you know, seeing Valentina Shevchenko tail off a little bit, but I'm going to go with her in this fight. And that brings us to our main event, Keith. I know Jack Della Maddalena is fighting, and then Bilal something. I can't remember his name exactly. What is it again?
Is that the guy that got eye poked?
The guy was crying. I remember that much.
Yeah.
And then I know he kind of denied a bunch of fights.
Bully B. Yo, he's the guy that's saying that he's friends with Islam so that Islam doesn't come up to welterweight and fight him.
Oh, yes, that does ring a bell.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a leaked phone call on Craig Jones's Instagram today where Khabib was like, Brother, I'm sorry. He talked too much, brother. He not one of our friends, brother. He trained for us for 1 hour and say, I am friends with Islam, so Islam cannot be double champ. So that's, I mean, even the people in his own camp feel that way about him. You know, he's kind of a leech and do nothing. And, a lot of people, I just want to say about this fight, a lot of people are like, oh, Jack Della Maddalena got controlled by Gilbert Burns, and that's what's going to happen to him in this fight. Don't think so. I really don't think so because Jack Della, even though he got, a little out grappled against Gilbert Burns, Gilbert's no slouch when it comes to his grappling. And I think the Bilal Muhammad wants to really throw hands with guys. He's thrown hands with people he should not throw hands with in the past. And also, his win against Gilbert Burns, fuck that shit. That was because Gilbert had like a fucking broken shoulder or something. So Bilal Muhammad now making his first title defense after beating Leon Edwards, who we all knew who Leon Edwards was anyway. Leon Edwards was a quitter that got lucky against Kamaru Usman the first time around. And so he quits against Bilal Muhammad. And now we have Bilal Muhammad fighting a real fighter. The welterweight division is really fucking scary. He was supposed to fight Shavkat. Now he's fighting the next killer in line. I'm taking Jack Della here because Jack Della is the type of guy, we saw this against Gilbert Burns, and we've seen this time and time again. He's just like that when it comes to what he wants to do. He sees an opening and it's no thought. It's just instinctual. He's throwing knees. If he's like, it's incredible the way that he fights. He sees an opening and it's instantaneous. And almost sometimes it looks like he's getting lucky. Like Gilbert Burns goes to throw a takedown in the third round and that knee just happens to find him right up the middle. His fight against Kevin Holland, he showed that he could take a strike. I'm really impressed by Jack Della Maddalena. I don't want to talk too much because we do have 2 minutes left. Jack Della Maddalena, that's my pick. I think he's going to go out there and knock Bilal Muhammad the fuck out. I think Bilal's going to want to throw, and Jack's going to let the hands. He's going to let them fly. And I think in a transition when they're both scrambling and getting up off their feet, that's when Jack's going to really land one because Bilal's going to have his, it's going to be quick thinking, and Bilal's not going to see it coming. He's going to be making an adjustment and just get walloped. I'm taking Jack all fucking day here. Fuck Bilal Muhammad. What do you think?
Yeah, I want to take Jack. He got taken down 7 times by Gilbert Burns. I know he ended up landing an elbow and knocking Gilbert Burns out, but 7 takedowns. I'm concerned that Bilal Muhammad is going to take him down and just hold his waist, keep his head tucked on the side of Jack Della Maddalena so we can't get good shots. And it's going to be one of the most boring championship fights we've seen. And Bilal Muhammad's going to walk away with the victory, probably cry about it, probably, act like he went up 2 weight classes and beat John Jones and left his body, bloodied on the canvas. Just over exaggerate and make a fight that was a snooze fest into something like a fight of the year contender with the way he talks about it. I would love to see Jack Della Maddalena at 28 years old humble him and get Bilal Muhammad off of the podium in terms of the welterweight championship. Minus 260 kind of scares me because I very clearly see the world where Bilal Muhammad just takes him down, holds him down, and wins because, he does have good takedown defense and he does have a good ability to hold guys down on the ground. We were basically just hoping for the X factor that is Jack Della Maddalena to come through and win this. So if I'm picking with my head, it's probably Bilal, unfortunately, because his fighting style, he's just so good at that takedown and the hold down that he doesn't have to be good anywhere else, and he's not good anywhere else. But Jack Della Maddalena, who's really good in a lot of places, especially with that ability to be nasty and finish fights. I hope that he can get this one done. I'll be relieved if and when he does. But minus 260 to take it on Bilal. But shit, man. If you got optimism and you want to, I'm going to be rooting for Jack Della Maddalena anyway. So I'm okay putting, some money down on Bilal so that if Maddalena loses, I at least have that to rely on. At least I made a little bit of coin, but I'll be fine losing $15, $20, $30 on Bilal Muhammad if Jack Della Maddalena is the winner. So that's how I'm going to kind of think about it and hedge my bets here. So I'm going to pick, Bilal to get this one done. I hate it, and I hate myself for doing it. But I just see so clearly him taking Jack Della Maddalena down and winning. But, he also, Bilal, like you said, kind of forced Leon Edwards to quit a little bit, and I don't think Jack Della Maddalena or really anyone from Australia or New Zealand has that type of quit in them. So with that being said, I'm going to reverse my pick. I'm going Jack Della Maddalena, even though I'm going to end up putting money on Bilal. So there you go.
Yeah, there's no quitting that dog. And then there's also just one more X factor here. Everybody, when Volk fought Islam, fought Islam, was like, how the hell is he going to keep up with the wrestling? He got fucking almost submitted by Brian Ortega how many times? Jack Dell is another guy speaking on his toughness. He can get taken down 7 times. He's going to keep getting back up. He can almost get submitted. He's going to find a way out. Bilal Muhammad, he's really not great at submissions anyway. He's just kind of
he sucks.
Yeah, he's just kind of like a prototypical like American college wrestler.
But he doesn't claim America as his like nationality. I know it says it here on Tapology, but he walks out with a different flag. Listen, if you are that shit drives me up the wall. If you're born here, you learned all your skills here, like everything about you is America, but you claim somewhere else. That drives me up the wall. And it should, I think it drives anybody up the wall. If you're going to claim the nation, if you're not going to claim the nation that you got the majority of your skill set in, come on, dude, what are you doing? That's fraudulent. Go ahead.
Yeah, or that like gave you absolutely everything and like you came here from someone else. Whatever. I don't know. Listen, I'm just saying, it's a nation of people from other places and everybody happens to appreciate it here. You know, so he's a guy from Chicago, wants to talk about how tough he is being from Chicago and whatnot. Well, claim Chicago then. But yeah, I also don't think he was like a street guy in Chicago either, no matter how much he like, I don't know. He's just like, all right, yeah, I guess you're not Chicago.
He doesn't have street guy energy.
No, dude. He's like, his story is he went to college, he joined the wrestling team, and then his coach kept going, and now all he knows how to do is just wrestle.
And take PEDs.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had something caught in my throat.
Oh, just to finish my thought, though, like the X factor that really got Volkanovski's grappling good against Islam Makhachev and helped him develop like that butterfly technique for getting up out of the takedown almost instantaneously was Craig Jones. And Craig Jones has been heavy in Jack Della Maddalena's camp. He's been there he's
Jack Della Maddalena submitted Craig Jones, like put him to sleep recently.
Yes, bro. And like some people are saying that's fake because Craig Jones is so good at his social media game. But like, bro, at the same token, if that is real and Craig Jones has been preparing him for that level of wrestling and the anti-wrestling, I'm doubling down on Jack Della Maddalena, bro. Like, give me a live bet first round if he's starting to like look good and defending those takedowns. Give me that because I've had no reason to question his cardio, no reason to question his toughness. The only thing is the wrestling, and if he's looking good, live bet me up, son, responsibly. All right, you want to put a bow on this bad boy?
Let's do it. All right, you first. Go.
Okay, my friend. For my prelim notables, I'm going with Bruno Silva over Marc-Andre Barriault. Big one. I really like Navajo Sterling over Ivan Urslan. Modestas Bukauskas over Jan Kutalaba. And I'm going to go with Charles Radke over Mike Malott. Controversial pick. Main card, Benoit Saint-Denis over Kyle Prepolek. Alexa Grasso over Natalia Silva. Jose Aldo over Ayman Zahabi. Valentina Shevchenko over Manon Fierro. And give me the underdog, Jack Della Maddalena, over Bilal Muhammad to save the main event by knockout. What do you think, Tom?
I am trailing a lot of those. I'm going Marc-Andre Barriault over Bruno Silva. I like Navajo Sterling over Ivan Ursulan. Modestas Bukauskas over Jan Kutalaba. Mike Malott over Charles Radke. Benoit Saint-Denis over Kyle Prepolek. Alexa Grasso over Natalia Silva. Jose Aldo over Ayman Zahabi. Shevchenko over Fierro. And JDM over Bilal Muhammad, though I unfortunately can see the realistic reality where Bilal Muhammad just holds him down. I hope it doesn't happen, but I can see it.
Yeah, well, only one way to find out, right? Appreciate you being here with me, Tom. Appreciate all you people at home. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Like we said at the beginning, you can also check us out on Spotify and Instagram and X at _Pickin Winners. Tom's X name is at Pickin Fights Tom. I'm at Pickin Keith. And make sure you keep up with us there as well. Am I missing anything?
No. Enjoy the fights.